Beneath every mountain, beneath every ocean, beneath the crust of every world in our solar system, something waits. Ancient myths call it the serpent, the dragon that sleeps in the deep places, the cosmic snake that connects heaven and the underworld. Every culture tells this story. The question is, why? Because beneath our feet, beneath the surfaces of distant moons and planets, there are tunnels, vast networks of caves, lava tubes kilometers wide stretching for hundreds of kilometers, spaces large enough to hide civilizations, and some of them, when mapped from orbit, look disturbingly serpentine. What if the serpent myths aren't just symbols? What if they're maps? Welcome to the world beneath worlds.
In Norse mythology, the world serpent Jormungandr encircles the earth, dwelling in the ocean depths. In Hindu tradition, the cosmic serpent Shesha supports the universe, and Vasuki helps churn the cosmic ocean. The Aztecs worshipped Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent who brought knowledge from beneath the earth. Australian Aboriginal Dreamtime speaks of the rainbow serpent that shaped the land by traveling through it, creating valleys and riverbeds. The Greeks placed Python beneath the oracle at Delphi, guarding the Omphalos, the navel of the world. Buddhist cosmology describes Nagas, serpent beings living in elaborate underground kingdoms. Native American traditions speak of snake clans emerging from the Sipapu, the hole in the ground connecting to the lower world. The Hopi describe their ancestors emerging from underground to populate the surface world. Why are serpents universal symbols of the underworld? Why do they connect the depths with the cosmos, the buried with the celestial? Modern planetary science provides an unexpected answer. Because beneath the surface of worlds, Earth, the Moon, Mars, even distant moons of Jupiter and Saturn, there are structures, lava tubes, subglacial channels, geothermal fissures. And when we map them from orbit with synthetic aperture imaging and gravitational analysis, we discover something startling. Many of them are sinuous, winding, snake-like. They tunnel through solid rock, curve through ice, spiral beneath surfaces. They look for all the world like the cosmic serpents ancient people described. Tunnels connecting different realms, pathways between the known and unknown. Today, we investigate the serpent beneath worlds, the scientific reality of subsurface structures across the solar system, the ancient myths describing them, and the possibility that some of these tunnels, whether on Earth or distant worlds, might harbor the one thing that fascinates and terrifies us most: hidden life, underground civilizations, subterranean secrets waiting in the dark.
Before we descend into the underworld, we must understand the serpent as cosmic symbol. Because the serpent isn't just associated with caves and tunnels, it's associated with the cosmos itself. The ancient Egyptians depicted the sky goddess Nut arching over the earth, her body a serpent or serpentine curve spanning from horizon to horizon. The Milky Way was seen by multiple cultures as a celestial serpent, the spine of the cosmos, the river of stars connecting all things. In Hindu and Buddhist cosmology, the Kundalini is a coiled serpent at the base of the spine that, when awakened, rises through chakras, connecting earthly body to cosmic consciousness. The serpent moves between realms, from underground through the body into the celestial. Why this specific imagery? Contemporary researchers like Jeremy Narby in The Cosmic Serpent propose that the double helix of DNA, the twisted snake-like molecule that encodes life itself, is what ancient peoples intuited through altered states of consciousness. The serpent is life. It's information. It's the fundamental pattern that connects all living things across the cosmos. And where does life begin? Where does it thrive? Increasingly, scientists believe underground. On Earth, the deep biosphere, life existing kilometers beneath the surface, in rock pores, in subterranean lakes, in volcanic fissures, may contain more biomass than all surface life combined. Microorganisms thrive in conditions we thought impossible. No sunlight, extreme heat, crushing pressure, toxic chemistry. They don't need the surface. They never see the sky. The serpent lives beneath, always has. And if Earth's deep biosphere is real, why not elsewhere? The moon has lava tubes created by ancient volcanic activity, empty tunnels where molten rock once flowed. Mars has similar structures, some large enough to swallow entire cities. Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon, may have serpentine channels melted through kilometers of ice by tidal heating. Enceladus, Saturn's moon, has cracks in its ice shell, tiger stripes, that vent water into space, suggesting vast subsurface oceans with channels connecting them. The serpent beneath worlds isn't metaphor. It's geology, it's planetology, it's the architecture of worlds. And ancient peoples, lacking our vocabulary but not lacking observation, described these structures the only way they could, as serpents, as dragons, as cosmic snakes tunneling through reality itself.
Let's begin where humans always begin, beneath our own feet. Earth's crust is riddled with caves, not scattered pockets, but interconnected networks stretching for hundreds of kilometers. The world's longest cave system, Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, has over 650 kilometers of mapped passages, and that's just what we've explored. Ground-penetrating radar suggests far more. But caves are just the beginning. Beneath our oceans lie hydrothermal vents, underwater volcanic fissures where superheated, mineral-rich water spews from the seafloor. These were discovered only in 1977, and they revolutionized biology. Because surrounding these vents are ecosystems unlike anything on the surface. Tube worms 3 meters long, eyeless shrimp, bacteria that don't use sunlight for energy but chemical reactions, chemosynthesis. These vent communities don't need the sun. They exist in total darkness, feeding on Earth's internal heat. If our planet died, if the sun went out, these communities would continue. They're independent of the surface world. Now consider, we've explored perhaps 5% of Earth's ocean floor. We've mapped more of Mars's surface
than our own seafloor. What else is down there? In 2013, scientists discovered enormous aquifers of liquid water trapped in rock formations 10 to 30 kilometers beneath Earth's surface. Water volumes potentially exceeding all surface oceans combined. This water is ancient, isolated, possibly harboring microbial life that evolved separately from surface life billions of years ago. Then there are the sinkholes and cenotes, sudden collapses revealing massive subterranean caverns and underwater cave networks. The Yucatan Peninsula is honeycombed with them. The ancient Maya considered cenotes sacred portals to Xibalba, the underworld realm. They performed rituals at these openings, leaving offerings to the gods below. Were they wrong? Or did they recognize that beneath the ground lies another world entirely, a world we're only now beginning to map? Antarctica hides something even stranger. Beneath kilometers of ice, there are lakes. Lake Vostok is the size of Lake Ontario, completely sealed under ice that's remained frozen for 15 million years. When scientists finally drilled into it, they found living bacteria, thousands of species that evolved in complete isolation. No light, no connection to the surface ecosystem, a separate tree of life. And stranger still, scientists using ice-penetrating radar have discovered what appear to be channels and tunnels beneath Antarctic ice, carved by geothermal heat, melted by volcanic activity, or flowing water. Some of these channels are sinuous, winding for kilometers, snake-like, serpentine. Ancient peoples couldn't drill through ice or use ground-penetrating radar, but they told stories about serpents beneath ice, about dragons sleeping under mountains, about paths to the underworld through caves and chasms. What if they were describing real geological structures, serpentine tunnels connecting surface to depth, interpreted through the mythology of their time?
Now we leave Earth and ascend, only to descend into other worlds. The Moon, our closest neighbor, is dead. No atmosphere, no water, no life. Or so we thought. Then, orbital missions discovered something extraordinary: lava tubes. When the Moon was geologically active billions of years ago, volcanic eruptions created lava flows. The surface of these flows cooled and hardened, while molten rock continued flowing underneath, eventually draining away and leaving hollow tubes. On Earth, lava tubes are typically 10 to 30 meters in diameter. On the Moon, with its lower gravity, they can be enormous, up to 5 kilometers wide and hundreds of kilometers long. From orbit, these tubes appear as sinuous rills, winding channels snaking across the lunar surface. The Schroter's Valley Rill on the Moon is over 160 kilometers long and up to 10 kilometers wide. It curves, it meanders, it looks like a frozen river or a giant serpent carved into the Moon's face. And here's what's exciting. These tubes are perfect for habitation. They provide natural radiation shielding, temperature stability, protection from micrometeorite impacts, and ready-made pressurizable volumes. Future lunar bases will likely be built inside lava tubes. Humanity's first permanent off-Earth settlement will be underground, subterranean, in the domain of the Serpent.
Mars has similar structures, but larger. The Martian lava tubes could be 20 to 30 meters in diameter, some stretching for 200 kilometers or more. The Pavanus Mons region alone may contain dozens of accessible tubes. When mapped from orbit, they trace sinuous paths across the volcanic plains, serpents frozen in stone. But it gets stranger. Mars's ice caps contain structures that radar can partially penetrate, channels and voids beneath the ice. Some appear disturbingly regular, almost geometric. Others are sinuous, winding through the ice like tunnels carved by a living thing, rather than blind geological forces. Europa, Jupiter's ice moon, is perhaps the most serpent-haunted world in the solar system. Its surface is crisscrossed with cracks, ridges, and lineae, lines that stretch for hundreds of kilometers. The most prominent, the Connemara Chaos and the Triple Band formations, look like something burrowed beneath the ice and pushed the surface up. Scientists believe Europa has a global subsurface ocean beneath 10 to 30 kilometers of ice, and connecting this ocean to the surface may be channels, tunnels melted through ice by tidal heating, by cryovolcanism, by convection currents in the ice itself. These channels would be sinuous, following paths of least resistance, winding like serpents through the frozen shell. If Europa's ocean harbors life, and many astrobiologists believe it might, then that life could access the surface through these serpentine channels. It could inhabit the tunnels themselves, living in ice caves warmed by tidal friction, surviving on chemical energy from the rocky core below. Enceladus, Saturn's small ice moon, actively vents water into space through cracks called tiger stripes, 4 parallel fissures at the South Pole. These aren't random. They're organized, almost geometric, and they connect to a subsurface ocean. The vents suggest a network of channels in caverns beneath the ice, a labyrinth that, if we could map it, would look like a serpent's den. The cosmic serpent isn't just myth, it's planetary geology, and everywhere we look in the solar system, we find it. The winding tunnel, the sinuous channel, the cave system that looks like something carved by a living thing, rather than blind geological forces.
Now we must address the elephant, or rather the serpent, in the room, the hollow earth theory and myths of subterranean civilizations. In the 17th and 18th centuries, scientists, including Edmund Halley, seriously proposed that Earth might be hollow, with nested spheres inside, and possibly even inner suns. This wasn't fringe, it was mainstream scientific speculation based on limited geological knowledge. The idea persisted into the 19th century. In 1818, former U.S. Army Captain John Cleve Symmes Jr. proposed that Earth had openings at the poles leading to a hollow interior. He even petitioned Congress to fund an expedition. While dismissed by most scientists, the idea captured public imagination and inspired fiction like Jules Verne's Journey to the Center of the Earth. Modern geology disproves a literally hollow Earth. Seismology, gravitational measurements, and plate tectonics show we have a solid inner core, liquid outer core, mantle, and crust. Earth isn't hollow, but it is riddled with voids, honeycombed with caves, porous with interconnected aquifers and magma chambers and gas pockets, not hollow, but not solid either. And these voids aren't evenly distributed. They follow patterns, cluster in networks, form systems that ancient peoples might have recognized as the body of a serpent. branching, winding, connecting different regions. Myths of subterranean civilizations are global. The Buddhist kingdom of Agartha, supposedly hidden beneath Asia, the city of Shambhala in Tibetan tradition, the Greek underworld ruled by Hades, the Mayan Ixbalba, the Norse Niflheim and Svartalfheim, realms beneath the roots of Yggdrasil. These myths share common elements: access through caves or sacred mountains, advanced inhabitants with secret knowledge, connection to serpent or dragon guardians, and the idea that surface and subsurface are parallel but separate realms. Are these myths purely symbolic, representations of the unconscious mind, the shadow self, the hidden aspects of reality? Certainly they function that way psychologically. But what if they also preserve memories of something real? Not literal underground cities of advanced humans, but perhaps... Scenario 1. Ancient peoples encountered extensive cave systems with evidence of long-term habitation by earlier humans or related species. Neanderthals and Denisovans used caves extensively. What if some groups became so adapted to subterranean life that they seemed alien to surface dwellers? Scenario 2. Thermal vents and certain cave systems provided microclimates where life, human or otherwise, could survive ice ages and climate catastrophes. Surface populations died, subterranean populations persisted. When they re-emerged, they seemed like beings from another realm. Scenario 3. Deep time memory. Humans have existed for 300,000 years, but civilization as we know it is only 10,000 years old. What happened in the missing 290,000 years? What if there were earlier attempts at complexity, earlier settlements in caves and lava tubes that left traces? We know ancient humans used caves for rituals. The paintings at Lascaux, Chauvet, and Altamira are masterpieces, but they're in the deep parts of caves, difficult to access, dangerous, requiring light sources and preparation. Why paint there? Some archaeologists suggest caves were seen as portals to another world, the underworld, the realm of spirits, the domain of the serpent. Modern cave explorers describe altered consciousness experiences deep underground, time distortion, acoustic hallucinations, feelings of presence. The environment itself induces trance states. Ancient peoples entering these spaces might genuinely have felt they were entering another realm, and what they experienced there became mythology.
The serpent beneath worlds isn't one thing. It's a symbol, yes, representing DNA, the kundalini, the cosmic connection between depths and heights. But it's also real. It's the lava tube on the moon where humanity will build its first off-world colony. It's the channel through Europa's ice where alien microbes might swim between ocean and surface. It's the hydrothermal vent on Earth's ocean floor, hosting ecosystems independent of sunlight. The serpent connects realms. That's what it's always done in mythology. It connects the underworld to the surface to the heavens, the earthly to the cosmic. And now we understand why. Because subsurface structures, caves, tunnels, channels connect different environments, different pressure regimes, different temperature zones. They're bridges between worlds within worlds. Ancient myths about serpents beneath mountains and underground kingdoms weren't random fantasies. They were attempts to describe real geological features using the language of their time. And some of those features, extensive cave networks, thermal vents, subglacial channels, could indeed support life, perhaps even complex life. perhaps even, in extreme cases, something approaching civilization. We're only now beginning to map Earth's subsurface in detail, and we're discovering that the underground is far more complex, far more extensive, and far more inhabited than we imagined. If Earth's depths hold such surprises, what might we find in the caves of Mars, the ice tunnels of Europa, the lava tubes of the Moon? The Serpent is waiting in the dark places beneath every world. And someday soon, humanity will descend into those depths, not as surface dwellers venturing into the unknown, but as the next iteration of life, recognizing that the Serpent's realm is as much our home as the surface ever was. This is Myths of the Cosmos. If you want to explore more mysteries where ancient symbols meet scientific reality, where the underworld meets outer space, subscribe to our channel. Because the cosmos has layers, and the deepest mysteries lie not in the farthest stars, but in the nearest depths. Until next time, remember, the serpent beneath is real, and it's been waiting for us to understand.